Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I wanted to quickly share my thoughts about this video that I just watched on TikTok. And this lady is talking about how she convinced a man to take her out on a dinner date instead of a coffee date because apparently her perfume, one spray of her perfume, costs more than a latte. I'm going to play the video for you guys and then I'll add my commentary at the end.
To all of my ladies in the dating pool, let me show you how to redirect your way out of a low budget experience. Okay, this is a potential suitor. He has no number saved because period. Y'all already know how I roll. Good morning. It was great speaking with you last night. I woke up so refreshed. I would love to take you to coffee this week. Does Wednesday work? Okay, you cannot take me to coffee or tea on the first date. It's not equitable for me. I don't drink coffee and my perfume costs too much, so don't play. All right, so I hail from corporate America. We're going to use the sandwich effect here. 6 years in the C-suite. We about to use this. Okay, boom. So I say, good morning. It was great speaking with you also. It's actually restaurant week coming up. Here's the link. Let me know which one you decide. I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to start off with something good, okay? It was great speaking with you also. I'm not even addressing the coffee, baby. We're going to redirect you in the middle, then I'm going to end with something great saying, I'm looking forward to seeing you. We're also putting the ball back in his court because he's a grown-ass man, okay? You need to make the decision. So he goes, I just looked over the options. Let's do Italian. Perfect. So he goes, Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm like, works for me. I'm in Alexandria and I'm not far. If you could pick me up or send me an Uber, that would be awesome because why would you want me working on cobblestone? Why would you want me looking for parking? It sounds laborious to me. He goes, no problem. I'll send an Uber around 6:15. Baby is a new man. He is a new man. And I go, wonderful. Thank you. Ask for what you want. Be polite in your ass. Be a little bit difficult and always say please and thank you. There you go.
Okay, so I'm not saying that this woman is wrong for wanting a man to pay for dinner instead of going on a coffee date with her, right? But for me personally, and I'm just speaking about me personally, I don't meet men online. I don't do online dating, period. So if somebody is asking me out on a date, more than likely I've met them already in person and I've had a conversation with them and I've pretty much like felt their vibe and their energy and our chemistry. So off the top, I would not accept a date from someone who I was not attracted to initially in the first place. And the attraction may not just be physical. It could be the conversation. It could be, the topics of discussion. It could be their intellect. It could be the way that I felt while I was talking to them. But I would not feel like a coffee date was beneath me in a sense. Her tone is a bit condescending for me. It sounds like she thinks she's better than the man that she is going on a date with. She mentioned that she hails from corporate America as if that makes her royalty or something. I don't have an issue with women having standards. I think standards are really, really important for women to have in relationships, especially with these men who are raggedy, dusty, and disrespectful and murderous and dangerous. Having standards saves women's lives, okay? I'm aware of this. But I've gone, on coffee dates, brunches, dinner dates, breakfasts, activity-based dates like hiking or, biking, or I've done those things in the past. And I enjoyed myself the same way on every date because I enjoy the company of the person that I was with. And my ability to enjoy myself on this date was not contingent upon how much money he was spending on me. Because I can pay for my own luxury dinners. I can give myself that experience with or without him. So I don't really need him for that. I'm actually on a date with him because I enjoy his company. So coffee, breakfast, brunch would not make a difference to me because I'm meeting this guy in person. I'm not meeting him online. And I'm not saying that online dating is bad. But, if you want to weed out the weirdos and the killers and the addicts and the married men, I think it's best to date in person rather than online because online to me is a cesspool of nonsense. So I don't do online dating as a rule. Now I will say this, I will not put on the same amount of zhuzh, as Wendy Williams would say, for a coffee date as I would for a dinner date, right? Coffee date, some basic high-waisted fitted jeans, some pointy toe flats, tank top, slick back bun, some studs, red lipstick, minimal makeup. Very basic, very simple. And I won't put on the $250 perfume. I'll maybe put on the $95 perfume. Something cheaper because I'd like to smell good regardless. But yeah, so for the coffee date, I'm not going to put as much effort into my appearance as I would for the dinner date. It's just not going to happen because that's not the vibe we're on. And again, a coffee date with maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes even. And so I don't think it's a bad thing to have standards for when you're dating, but I would be wary of dating someone who felt like they were better than me, and it was a privilege it's more of a privilege for them to be on a date with me than it is for me to be on a date with them. Like, I would treat a guy that I would accept a date from, not any old bum on the street. Again, if I'm accepting a date from you, there's something I like about you already, okay? So I would treat him as if it was a privilege to be in his presence the same way he should treat me. I'm laughing because I just remembered something. So, okay. I am not flirtatious. I don't think that I am. But I can talk to any guy about anything, and I'm really genuinely interested in people. So a lot of men misconstrue my interest in them as a person as me being attracted to them and wanting to date them and be romantic with them and be sexual with them. That is rarely, if ever, the case for me. I just find men and women to be genuinely interesting people. I have Jupiter in the 7th house in Aquarius, so I'm a very friendly person. And I was laughing because I just went through a situation a couple weeks ago where, you know, I had met somebody at work. They're not a coworker, but I was working and they came into the office for whatever reason. And I struck up a basic conversation with him. He had a girlfriend. I knew he had a girlfriend. We talked about his girlfriend and their issues. Like, yo, you gotta do better, right? I'm giving him advice because I'm not interested in him at all. Even though he's attractive and handsome, he's used to people kind of like falling all over him. But I treat everybody the same. I treat men and women as if they're the most interesting people in the world to me. And that's true. I think that every human being is valuable, and I am a natural conversationalist. So sometimes I underestimate how men see women and how men see attention from women. So this dude who already had a girlfriend, he was way younger than me, so I was not interested in whatsoever. But he thought that I had manipulated him into I don't know what. But he felt some kind of way when I did not ask for his number after our conversation, because he came into the office a couple of days later, and I was speaking to my other coworker the same way I spoke to him, and he was high-key jealous. He was like, why are you smiling at him? You must like him or something. I'm like, huh? I talk to all men and women the same way. Like, genuinely, I love talking to people. I love, learning about people, learning from people. I can talk about anything and any topic whatsoever. So that's very enticing, apparently, to some people. And I remember speaking to an astrologer years ago, and he was like, yeah, you're friendly as hell. Men think that you like them, but you don't. And he started dying laughing. And that is true. So anyway, back to the original point. If I'm with you, right, if I'm spending time with you, coffee date, lunch date, hiking, whatever, I'm going to treat you as if, I'm grateful for your presence and I want you to treat me the same way, right? And it's pretty much reciprocal. When you treat somebody like you appreciate their time and you appreciate their effort and you appreciate their conversation, their presence, then more than likely they will reciprocate and treat you the same way. But you don't have to sleep with them. Like, I don't sleep with men after dates. Like, the amount of money you spend on me does not determine if I'm going to have sex with you or not. I'll have sex with you when I feel like it, period. So that's not going to change anything. I think that women and men have to start treating each other. People have to start treating each other as if they value the person on an intrinsic level, right? Regardless of how they look, how much money they spend, what kind of job they have. Just value human beings. Try to get to know people from an authentic space. And if you're not interested in doing that with everybody, which is fine, at the very least, do not go out on dates with men who you feel like are wasting your time if they don't spend if they don't spend a lot of money on you. Like, don't spend time with someone who you feel like is cheating you by like not spending a lot of money on them. Like, if you can't give me this, if you can't pay for this expensive restaurant, that means you don't value me and my time. Sometimes it's not that complicated. It's not that serious. Like for me personally, I don't want to be bothered while I'm eating. So I'd rather not go out on dinner dates. Like don't say nothing to me while I'm chewing my food. I'm concentrating. For me, eating is a meditative practice, okay? And you know, I have Moon and Taurus. So I eat very slowly and I want to savor my food. I don't want you talking to me. I don't want you looking at me too hard. Just let me do what I gotta do. And that's it. Like I've gone out on dinner dates and not eating the food because I was so interested in the person. I was eating up their energy. I was absorbing them, right? And so that's very seductive apparently to people. I didn't know that. I was just doing me. But I would rather enjoy your energy and your company than to spend time eating a bunch of food that may make me bloated, may make your breath stink. You know, it may not taste good. Like, I don't know. I want to focus on the person that I'm on a date with instead of what I'm eating. So I'm personally more comfortable going on dates that are not centered around food. I like the experience more than the food itself. So I like activities. I like going places like museums and maybe a Broadway show, something like that. But the whole dinner thing, I think, is played or it's overplayed. I'm not saying it's wrong to have standards and to want to go to, you know, dinner. I mean, I've gone on fancy dinner dates and I've judged myself up with the roller sets and the silk dresses and, you know, the little black dresses and pumps. And I've done all of that, right, for that particular experience. But that comes after I've gotten to know you for a little while. And now there's a little bit more effort put into my appearance, you know, because I've gotten to know you and we're taking things more seriously. A coffee date is very casual. Like, I'll be honest with you. I could have gone on at least 7 coffee dates in the past 2 weeks if I really wanted to do that. But I wasn't interested. It takes a lot of time to dress up for a date, like to get your outfit together, the hair, makeup, all this other stuff. For me, so a coffee date, it takes less time. And I can get ready in 20 to 30 minutes, get in the shower. Again, simple jeans, tank top, flats, slick back bun, you know, some red lipstick, a little bit of foundation, and you're good. Versus a fancy dinner date, you know, you got to put in the works. There's more time, more energy, and that's all. And I have no problem either way, but I think that we should stop overemphasizing the quantity of the amount of money that's spent on the date versus the quality of the date itself, which is predicated upon not the restaurant or the amount of money that's spent, but the person that you're actually having dinner with. Get to know them. I'm more interested in you than the food. I can pay for anything that you can pay for, right? And it's not being a pick me because, again, for me, I've dated men with money, and a lot of men with money are assholes. They're usually a bit haughty. They may have lots of options, which is understandable because they have lots of money and women value money. So that's what it is. And they use their money as a personality trait. And I can't stand people like that. I enjoy conversation. I enjoy learning about you as a person. That's just what it is. And again, I'm not saying that because I'm this way, everybody else has to be this way. But I think that the commodification of our society has made dating into this competition between men and women, right? It's no longer about genuine, authentic connections. It's about making sure you're not wasting your time, right? Which means time is money. Making sure you're getting the most bang for your buck. You're getting the best deal. He's spending tons of money on me, which means that he values me. That's not automatically the case, because I know lots of men who have lots of disposable income and they spend tons of money on women and they don't value them. They see them as disposable pieces of booty. You saw this with Martell and Melody. Martell was spending thousands of dollars on Ariane and he don't even want to be with her. That's not enough to say, oh, he's a good partner, a good companion. Having money is important. I would not date a man who was not employed, period. He has to have some way of taking care of himself. And the more money, the better, to be honest, because that means that we have a better quality of life and so on. But you could have tons of money and still be an asshole, a jerk, a cheater, a womanizer, an abuser. So you taking me to fancy restaurants won't make me like you any more than I would have had you not done that, right? Because again, I'm meeting you prior to... I keep thinking about what happened with this guy. Okay, let me go back. I'm not laughing at him. I was just like surprised that this person who had a girlfriend already thought that I would be interested in dating him. Like, what are you talking about? I can talk to you about your career and your education and what you want to do with your life and your girlfriend and things of that nature without wanting to be in a relationship with you. I never gave him any impression that I was interested in dating him in that way at all. So it was a bit weird that he felt kind of possessive of me. when I was talking casually to my other finance coworker in his presence, he got a bit jealous. I'm like, well, I work around a lot of hot men. I mean, damn, what am I supposed to do? Act like he ain't here because you're here? But anyway, I think that women underestimate the power of good conversation, the power of genuine interest. Talking to someone that you trust, that you're attracted to, as if you value them. Right? I'm not saying talk to any old person in the street like this, because you never know what's going on. But people who you may see on a daily basis, maybe your coworkers, maybe somebody who lives in your neighborhood, right? Not somebody who's just like, I'm really against online dating, because you really can't see how much chemistry you have with a person by meeting them online. You can say they're attractive and they have all this, that, and the third. But I like to meet in person first. It's a better way of gauging the person's energy and seeing if they're giving you serial killer vibes, rapist vibes. You can't do that online. I'm not saying the person that you're meeting on the street doesn't have an online profile because that's, of course, a possibility. But for me, like, yeah, I'm not going to say no to a guy because he wants to go out on a coffee date versus a dinner date when we first meet, because I have shit to do as well. Like, getting ready for a coffee date is about half the time it would take for me to get ready for a dinner date. You know, I'm not as concerned about hair and nails and outfit fitting and all this other stuff. And again, the guy does not get to see the full zhuzh on a coffee date as he would for a dinner date. And from my experience, I think that when guys see a woman that's dressed regularly and then he sees her zhuzhed up, he appreciates her beauty more, because he's seen her regular, dressed down, you know, no makeup, regular hair, natural hair, whatever. Then he sees her really dolled up. It's surprising and to him, and he gets like the best of both worlds in his mind. So yeah, I would caution women into believing that the amount of money a man spends on you will determine the quality of your dating experience with this person. It may in some instances, but there are lots of men, again, with money, and they're just garbage human beings. Go out on a date with someone if you enjoy their company, their time, and their attention, and their conversation. Don't go out with them because you want a dinner or free dinner or whatever that is. Because if you don't like the person, like the way this woman was talking, she sounded like she didn't like the person. Like she had some contempt towards him for having the audacity to ask her out on a date. And I'm not saying that men don't like being treated like shit. A lot of men do. A lot of men appreciate when women treat them like shit. But that doesn't last long, right? Men do like the chase, but I would not want to be with a man who needed to be treated like shit to see my value or to appreciate me more. That's weird. I can't maintain that. I'm not a natural asshole, so I can't sustain that energy of having my foot on somebody's neck for the long term. So I have to be myself. I'm genuinely a pleasant person to be around when you first meet me, and that's the kind of energy that I will sustain throughout the duration of our relationship. So it doesn't mean I'm a pushover. It just means that it takes a lot of energy to be an asshole. It takes a lot of energy for me to pretend I don't care about somebody. And so, yeah, you have to be more discerning when you're someone like me who's very nice in general. You have to be more discerning about who you're dating. And that's why I've been single for a long time, because while I enjoy people's company, I'm no fool. I know that many of these men are cheaters, liars, narcissists, abusers, but that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy their company. Anyway, I can't enjoy it. It sounds stupid to say, but it doesn't mean that, you know, I'll just say this. When men become intimate with women, they start to get crazy and stupid, right? That's why I'm intentional about having conversations, casual conversations with men that are not about sex. I don't talk about sex with men hardly at all, period. I talk about emotional stuff, maybe their emotional issues, their girlfriend problems, but I'm the kind of person that will friend zone a guy while we're having an intimate conversation about his personal problems, right? His marriage, his relationships, his girlfriends. I'll make sure that he knows in my own way that there's no way in hell that I will ever sleep with you or help you cheat on your girlfriend. As a matter of fact, I'm going to help you figure out how to make your relationship better. That should be proof that I'm not interested in you in that way. Honestly, I've been approached more by men in relationships and marriages than men who are single. And I learned a long time ago, years ago, to assume that a man has a girlfriend or a wife, right? And I do this by saying, I don't ask, do you have a girlfriend or a wife? I ask, how's your girlfriend or your wife doing? How's your wife doing? I automatically ask, how's your girlfriend or your wife doing? And then they have to answer honestly, because I'm not giving them the opportunity to lie and say, oh yeah, I ain't got no girlfriend, I ain't got no wife, we're separated. No, how are they doing? So meaning that I'm having this conversation with you knowing that, or assuming that you have a girlfriend or wife. So it's not gonna go anywhere. But they think that it will, but it never does. Because again, I don't believe in poaching another woman's man. I don't believe in third party situations and cheating and sneaky links. I don't do that shit at all. That's not interesting for me. I may value you as a person, but I don't value you enough to fuck with my own integrity and my own self-respect. That's not going to happen either. But yeah, some people need somebody to talk to. It doesn't have to be serious. Like, I don't know. I guess I assume that if a woman is not talking about sex, then a man knows that she's not interested in having sex with him at all or being in a relationship with him. But I'm a bit naive sometimes. I assume that if I don't flirt with a man, if I'm not touching him, if I'm not smiling at him, I'm just having a conversation with him, that he knows that I'm not interested in him that way, especially if we're talking about his girlfriend. In the office. We're not, at a bar somewhere. We're in the office talking about his situation, his life. Going back to this young man I was talking about a few minutes ago. It was it's weird. These men need to stop assuming that female attention is automatically romantic interest. It's not. Okay? It really isn't. But anyway, back to the coffee thing. I wouldn't go out on a coffee date with a man who had a girlfriend. Right? I wouldn't go out on any date whatsoever with a man who had a girlfriend. That is crossing the line for me. But a coffee date to me is a good way of gauging someone's interest in you, of seeing if you have natural chemistry, of seeing if they're a viable partner potentially to be with, based on a conversation you can have with them. Because relationships are about communication. If I can't talk to you over a nice dinner or a brunch or while hiking or biking or at a museum or whatever, if I can't have a conversation with you, period, then if we start dating seriously or get married, how are we supposed to have conversations about difficult topics like estate planning, wills, job losses, health issues, infidelity? You have to have an open, healthy line of communication with your partner, and that should be established while you're dating. I don't like going to dinners, and I don't like going to movies when I'm just getting to meet somebody, because you can't talk when you're eating, and I can't talk during a movie. I hate it, but that's just me. So again, as a caution, do not treat your potential dating partner with contempt, as if they should be honored to be in your presence, and the reverse is not true. You should be honored to be in their presence too. It's a mutual thing, right? I'm not saying worship them, and I'm not saying they should worship you, but there should be a mutual respect between both adults, both consenting adults who are like, listen, I like the way you look, I like your vibe, I like our conversation, I think you are worth taking time out of my busy schedule to go on a date with. Okay? And once you treat your partner that way, whether you're male or female, then again, you should receive reciprocal energy. If you don't, then that person is not for you. I'm not going to go out on a date with somebody who makes me feel like they're doing me a favor. No. Yes, your time is valuable, but do not act like the person, again, that you're choosing to spend time with, that you want to spend money on you, should be honored to do so without, again, you feeling honored to be in their presence, right? There should be an understanding and an appreciation from both parties that this experience, right, this dating experience, whether it's a dinner date, a coffee date, a walk, or whatever, it is a potential building block for a long-term relationship. And so there's an opportunity to cultivate a genuine connection that is not based upon superficial qualifiers. And again, this only works if you already have a genuine interest and a connection with the person you're going out on a date with, even if it's the first date. Because again, from my experience, I personally don't go out on dates with people who I have not had conversations with beforehand. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong to have standards for dating, right? But it sounds like we're placing more value on the amount of money the person spends on us than their time and their energy and their company. I remember a few months ago, Judge Lynn Toller was called a pick-me because she married a man who was a divorcee, and he had several children, and I think she made more money than him. So they called her a pick-me, and here's how she responded.
We're too much on the labels these days. We've got simps and pick-me's, and I was on a conversation about my marriage at one point, And I talked about how my husband had 4 kids and he had just gotten divorced, so his finances were crazy. And I had no debt, no kids, no problems, had money in the bank, and I married him. And someone called me a pick-me because I didn't get a high-value man or didn't engage in hypergamy. And then once we got married, instead of him setting the purpose and the dream, he realized that, man, her purpose and her dream is gonna get both of us further. So he practically shut down his shop to help me become a judge, and then he went across the country to allow me to be on TV, and dropped his practice. So yeah, maybe I was a pick-me, and maybe he's a simp. But given the way things turned out, I'm simply glad he picked me, and you would be too.
So see, I'm not saying that, again, we shouldn't have standards for dating. You can find a happy medium between dating a bum-ass Pookie and Ray Ray in the corner with no job, with 15 girlfriends and 20 baby mamas, and dating, an accountant who is a little apprehensive about spending a lot of money on a date because he's not sure how things are going to go between you guys. So you can find a middle ground between those two options. It doesn't have to be black and white, where it's like either you're dating Pookie and Ray Ray or you're dating, this millionaire. We have to have some nuance when we're dating. It's not always about the amount of money he has in the bank account. It's about how well he treats you too. Again, there are lots of women who are in loveless marriages with men with lots of money. It's common. So I'm just cautioning women and men not to look down on the potential partners because of their current financial situation, or where they actually go on their first date, right? It should be a personal thing. You should not feel bad if you prefer to go on a coffee date or a hike versus going out to an expensive lobster dinner. Yes, men tend to value women that they've invested their money into. I see that a lot. That's not untrue, right? If a man spends more money on you, then more than likely he values you more than someone he's not spending that much money on. However, suppose the man has tons of money and he can afford to take care of multiple women. That's not the only indicator that a man values you or your relationship. However, I will say, please do not sleep with a man after a coffee date. Okay, that's a whole different conversation. Because now you are making a life or death decision, right? You are putting your body and your health at risk potentially when you start having intimacy with a man. So a coffee date will not suffice. He's going to have to show and prove that he's really interested in you by way of some financial investment. I don't care if it's gifts, dinners, rent paid, something, he got to do something to make your life easier. If he ain't doing that and it's just a bunch of coffee dates after a few months, then keep it at that level, right? Keep it platonic. Do not give him your body, period. Do not give him your body if he doesn't think you're worth more than a latte. That's just what it is. Because sex is expensive. And I'm not talking about financially. Energetically, it's very expensive. You are now creating a soul tie with somebody. And the price of admission has to be very high for that type of exchange. So yeah, the coffee dates, you're first meeting somebody, that's cool and everything. But if he wants more intimacy, he's going to have to show that he's really interested in you by way of financial, emotional, and practical support and investment. That's how you know he really cares about you and wants to make your life easier versus just using you as a distraction or placeholder until he finds the person he really wants to invest in. But again, the initial dates, first 2 dates, maybe even 3, coffee is fine. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you want to order a personal astrology or tarot reading, you can go to my website. I look forward to reading your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.